Hey Bayside, how's it going? So we're getting closer and closer to the end of the academic year. I know that that is exciting and uh, probably kind of just feels weird. We haven't been together. This virtual learning environment is definitely unique and I think meaningful. But I'm sure if you're like me, you're craving a little bit more human interaction than you've been getting. I had a chance to sit down with the department chairs and the grade deans today, and my screen was full of like 16, 17 people, and oddly enough, it was the happiest I've been in a couple of days because I got to see people. But I know everybody's getting through the best they can, and again, just every week, as I said in my last few videos and letters, gratitude is key. So we remain grateful for you. We're gonna stick with those of you who are struggling. We're gonna stay on you as best we can, obviously with your well-being in mind, but also just wanting to make sure that we do everything we can to keep you equipped and prepared for the next academic year, which is my segue into course selection. By now, we have had a couple of days to test the waters, and obviously the registrar, myself, department chairs, and advisors have had a chance to talk about how it's gone so far. And I wanted to provide some additional information for all of you and sort of make some clarifying points so that we're all on the same page as next week carries forward. First and foremost, just remember that when you're signing up for classes, the only ones that you have to sign up for in terms of what you are recommended for are core classes. So the core areas of math, science, English, and history, those four areas, you don't have an option. You've got to sign up for what you were recommended for. Okay. If you were recommended for, say, AP Spanish, but you don't want to take it and you've already fulfilled your graduation requirement for world languages, you don't have to do that. Same thing with French 3 or 4, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of the caveat there, is to ensure that the core classes are the ones where you are only signing up for what you're recommended for. In your conversations with advisors, if you indicate that you are going to want to waive into or out of a certain class, or that's a conversation that you're going to want to have, we're going to take notes of that, and we're going to try and compile a list so that we can begin reaching out to you at the end of the school year and help you prepare for whatever summer work may lie ahead for those different classes, okay? And then we'll still have the formal waiver window at the end of the summer. Also, for course selection, I want to make sure all of you had the information that you needed. I'm going to share my screen here real quick. I know you can see everything, but basically what I'm going to provide in my letter is this Bayside graduation credit sheet. Hopefully it'll open. And you'll see it's sort of a quick sheet guide of our schema and everything that we offer and all that you're required to do. And it kind of goes through each department and shows what earns what in terms of graduation requirements, okay? It'll also indicate, the digital ethics class for ninth graders. It will, at the end of this document, indicate how you can achieve your physical education requirements, okay, also including driver's ed and participation in sports, okay? And so this will be a really useful document. And I'm sorry I didn't send it out already, but that will go out in the letter and your parents will have access to that. I also wanted you to see just the curriculum guide in general. So a lot of you have asked for sort of a deeper explanation of what each class is about. I know Mr. Robertson, for instance, sent out a video explaining robotics and that elective. And so this will kind of go through a little bit more of the details with explanations of what each class is, okay? So these are, just simple things, pieces of information that you need to have, and hopefully they'll help you a little bit. But in terms of course selection, I think it's gone smoothly. And as everything with the virtual environment, we are doing our best to, address tweaks that we need to as we progress forward. Also want to remind you, there was a YouTube link sent out for Admiral TV. We're not going to watch it together, but I have it here on my desktop for you to see the link. And so we have another episode of Admiral TV. And I think young Patterson Branyan is going to bring some knowledge to us. I'm not quite sure, and it's not really loading. There we go. So please don't forget to watch that. It's a lovely way to kind of stay in touch with, one of our habits that we, love so much about Admiral TV. So those things are are all hopefully helpful for you. The last thing I want to do is just remind all of you to be on your best behavior during class. I know how hard it is to get up, to get to class, and to be in school mode because we're at home. I've got a fifth grader. I have to get on to him about being in his bed and kind of slouching while he's going through Miss Ezel's English class or whatever. But please don't be in your bed. Please don't be lying down. Sit up, get yourself in a chair, be present, and be visible. Okay. Teachers, I think, are being pretty consistent with if they can't see your face, they're not giving you credit for being in attendance. Obviously, we're willing to understand the glitches that come with high traffic on media. I know that certain hours of the day it's difficult for Zoom to function and this, that, and the other. So we have all that in mind, but just be, the best version of yourself when you're in class. And otherwise, that's pretty it. The last announcement I have to make, which is I think one that you're going to appreciate, is we will not have semester exams this year, second semester exams. So AP students, you'll have a final assessment that will go into your grade book as a major assessment, but not in your exam column. Those of you who achieved a 4 or a 5 on your exams last year will be exempt from that practice exam. If you want to take it, you can. And all students in CP classes, grades 7 through 12, will not take part in exams for second semester. What that means is that review week will be sort of the last week of academic activity per se, kind of finishing up assessments. We'll use that week to just continue to try and get a little bit more skills and content covered in this virtual world. And then the week that typically was scheduled for exam week, we'll spend sort of following up, finishing up, doing some reflection, tidying up, and getting work in. And you'll have some sort of final conversations with your teachers. But no exams for the spring. That's something that a lot of independent schools are doing across the country, and it's only fair, right? There's enough stress and anxiety associated and difficulty associated with this environment. So we felt it was fair to not put that burden on you. And so we hope you appreciate it and hope you use it as a sort of an olive branch so that you can continue to stay focused in these last few weeks and give your best effort in trying to accomplish the academic tasks that you need to accomplish. Seniors, your last day is still May 6th, okay? For those of you who are in AP classes, the department chairs and I are going to work on putting a practice schedule, practice exam schedule together so that you all don't feel overwhelmed as well as the other AP students, but so you all don't feel overwhelmed with getting prepared for those final examinations. You should get a letter next week as well that kind of identifies exactly what we're planning on doing for awards day, for senior scholarship day, for the book ceremony and the slideshow, and for graduation. So those are all things that we're still planning on doing one way or another. Some will be virtual and some hopefully will be in a more physical space. But we just have to continue to garner whatever information we can from health officials and see what happens at the end of this month in terms of what our governor is going to allow. And I think Mr. Papa is also going to get the advice of some medical experts to see how we can safely facilitate your graduation process this summer and see what that could look like. All right. It really is great to quote unquote see all of you. We miss you all terribly. This office is really, really lonely. I feel a little bit awkward, but that's not really any different than my usual existence. So y'all take care of yourselves, take care of each other, love your families, be grateful for what you have, and I look forward to speaking with you all next week. All right. Thanks a lot.